One of the most undervalued altcoin gems on the Solana ecosystem and arguably in all of crypto has having a dip this time, but a very different dip than it had in February, March. Now in this video we're gonna discuss what is different about this dip. Could it be the bottom for Blockasset, and could we be heading for new highs or at least more sustained price that we're having right now? Guys, welcome once again to AR7 channel. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're gonna discuss a lot of big altcoin gems in the future, but right now we're focusing on one of my favorite ones, which is Blockasset on Solana, the sports NFTs, social tokens, big crypto for the future. So guys, let's discuss what is different between the dip that we are having here in May, June with March, April. Now, first of all, it's pretty great. Just let's start from the very beginning that in March we dropped to 9 cents, and in June we dropped to 7 cents, which is lower, but it's like with Bitcoin's case, it was much worse, okay? Because in March, Bitcoin dropped to like 30, even closer to 40K, and in June it dropped to 20K. So basically, if you take it from March, actually Blockasset is performing much better than the biggest crypto in the world, Bitcoin. So that is sign number one, which is very good. But this time, guys, okay, let's see. So as you can see here in January, February, we've also discussed that we've had whale activity that also contributed to this over here. But see how it was like really down almost every single day, just down. And then also it had this big spike up with the Smash Bros NFT. Now this time you can see this last drop was much more sustained. And first of all, guys, I want to mention here something really major that I was waiting for a long time, and is to have this really this bearish trend line break. Now guys, if you've been following this channel, you definitely saw that we've been following it here and then here again, because we've had multiple unsuccessful attempts to break this bear trend that started in April, and this time we finally have done it. We've also done it both on the logarithmic, okay, and also non-logarithmic, which is really good. So that is really great sign, okay? We've broken this bear trend, and at least for the foreseeable future, we have good chances of staying at 8 cents. Another little thing is that recently at Gate.io, the prices were lower than on Radium. So actually on Radium, the prices are a little bit actually better, a little bit higher than on Gate.io. So yeah, I'm just gonna load it here to have it open, and we're gonna see. You see, it's like 804, and here it's 79. So anyway, yeah, like on Radium, the chart is even slightly better. You see, with more green. But anyway, so that was thing number one. Okay, so thing number one is that we've had this drop over here was just so fast and so extreme, and this time you see we have like a much more established floor. Plus, we broke this trend line. So this is thing number one. Now, thing number two, guys, is, it's still very kind of dubious to talk about it right now, but especially because it's a bear market. But just overall, the fact that we're kind of, staying at the same price for a month now already, after we had a bottom with also higher volume here at this bottom, which is another big sign. The really nice thing is that the chart just starts to remind me, we'll have to see what happens within the next few months, but it starts to remind me of Bitcoin in 2013 and also Shiba Inu in 2021. So let's explain what I mean by that. So over here we kind of missing the top that Bitcoin had, but basically Bitcoin was $250 here, just like in early April. Okay, over here it was 250, and then it dropped big time here to around 100. Now, as you can see, guys, for basically half a year, Bitcoin stayed approximately around 100. It dropped even lower to like $70, but you see, like it stayed really at around 100 for almost a month, okay? And then it just shoot up in a huge way, like just 10x in basically 1 month, okay? It's been like 100 and something, and 1100. It went to 1100 just in 1 month, November 2013, and that was the peak of that cycle. So if Blockasset will continue being like in this kind of range, more or less, here, something like that for, for a few months, again, it could be very reminiscent to Bitcoin. And then if Blockasset will have really amazing and important news and a use case that is working much better, and we're having many more people using buying athletes tokens from Block in order to purchase things with athletes. So we could have a similar thing here. Now again, it's very, because it's a bear market and we have to see what announcements we'll have and everything, it's not a guaranteed, you know. Like what I just want to mention, just the fact that we have similarity now to Bitcoin 2013, it doesn't mean it will play out exactly the same way and we'll have 8 cents to 80 cents in 1 month in November, but it's just possible, you know. So it's a possibility, and the more we're staying in this range, the higher the possibility will remain that it will happen. Now I just want to show you again also Shiba. You know, Shiba was also similar, and just in Bitcoin, because I didn't have the history here. So with Shiba, it's even kind of, you can see it even better. So we had a big pump in May, and then we dropped to this like level of 6-7. Okay, I'm gonna mention 6-7 because there's many zeros. So you see it stayed at 6, 7, 8 for a long time. Again, almost identical to Bitcoin. Okay, it was like from May to October, almost half a year, pretty close to half a year. And then look, like you had these like 2 big bumps here, and that was also around a 10x in just basically 1 month. Okay, so that's September 29th, 702, and the peak was even 86 in October 28th. So that was even a bit more than a 10x for Shiba Inu in 2021. And again, very similar price activity, that it just held so strong at these levels for a long time, and then just it shoot up. But obviously, again, what we'll mention here is that in October and November we've had a much more favorable overall crypto environment, and overall we've had much more bullish activity. So that thing is very important to keep in mind. But again, because Blockasset is also a pretty young project and still has low volumes, again, just if we have, even if it's a bear market, if just we have enough important fundamental stuff going on, I just want to mention that Blockasset can even surprise everyone and even have a spike, not necessarily 10x, but still a major spike even in a bear market. It's possible, it's less likely, but it's also possible. Okay guys, so that was thing number 1 and 2. So 2 is the similarity to Bitcoin in 2013 and Shiba in 2021. Thing number 1, as we've mentioned, was breaking this bearish trend and having a bit, you know, not drop like this, but more kind of sustained drop. Now thing number 3, which is also very important to see the difference between this first dip to the second dip. And that's over here, guys. That's the Blockasset on SolScan, okay? Check this next thing out, okay? The history that we have here is from January 2022, but I mean, it's good enough because the token was launched only in December. So you can see like this dip that we've had in January, February, March was much more kind of, let's call it, I don't know if fundamental is the right word, but more real in a way. Because you see, like what happened here is that we actually also had less and less holders. You see, that's the green line here. So on January 7th, we start with 3,000 holders for Block, and then we've ended up with approximately 2,500 by middle of February. And basically we didn't recover back to 3,000 until March 9th, when we've had this bottom, and then we started going up again. So again, why is that important? Is because this drop was more real, as we said, because we really had more wallets that had a certain amount of Block in the wallets, and many wallets were just selling completely all of the Block that they've had. And over here we just had less and less Solana wallets that held any Block at all. Okay, and that of course corresponds to the drop that we've had, which makes sense, you know, and it was really down almost every single day. So basically you had more and more wallets here that were just completely selling all of the Block and not having any new Block again. Okay, but then March 9th is when we started having another actually little thing that I want to mention here that I forgot, guys, is that I think something in this metric is like not super perfect. Like I think it's possibly, maybe it's like, you know, I was thinking maybe it's actually the token unlocks, right? But it doesn't make sense because we've had this spike here in March 9th, but then we didn't really have another token unlock here. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. And then in June, we've also didn't have, like the unlocks were postponed to September, so that also couldn't be related to the unlock. So in case some of you guys are thinking about the unlocks, I think it could be part of it, but like it can be all of it, you know, because this spike can be the unlocks and this spike also cannot be the unlocks. What I'm thinking is that just not to really have full familiarity why is it so, but possibly maybe it's a little bit more like a delayed, maybe there's some delay here, and maybe in reality it's a little bit more like gradual and didn't spike so quickly like in one day. That's what I'm personally thinking, especially here, because I personally was part of this wave here. Okay, I've learned about Blockasset thanks to the Smash Bros series, which was absolutely, you know, really fun and fantastic, and I started buying blocks somewhere here. Okay, so and before that, like, I had 0 block. So and somewhere here I started having some block, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't really think it was like I joined everyone together in March 21st. You know what I mean? I just think it was more gradual in reality. And then in June we started having some new spike again. But again, maybe for whatever reason it was again slightly delayed statistics. But bottom line, what's the most important is that we've had this big drop. Okay, again sold by whales, and I think it was again correlated with the Terra LUNA collapse, and the like crypto got just so much more bearish in May, June. So I think, you know, this huge storm of crypto and the equities stock markets in general, I think it just came to Blockasset as well, and it is what it is. But the point is, I think right now Blockasset is much more undervalued than it was here. Okay, because when we were at 9-10 cents here in middle of March, we've had like more sellers, okay, and we've had more kind of real downside from the overall Solana wallets that hold block. But now we actually have more Solana wallets that hold block, and increased activity, and also use cases that are more and more ready, more NFTs available, and more NFTs coming up in the future, like Alexander Usyk that we're waiting for the next one. So bottom line is that, you see, this is the last third indicator that I've wanted to mention, that Blockasset could be even more undervalued now at 7-8 cents, because this time we have more wallets holding block, okay, instead of here, and it's still going up. So over here we were going down and the price was going down, but over here where the number of wallets is going up, but the price still went down, maybe not as much anymore. So yeah, guys, that's the 3 main indicators why Blockasset, you know, it's not 100%, of course, it's not guaranteed that it was the bottom, but I think it's, first of all, it's a much more increased probability. And again, if we'll have a similar price action to Bitcoin and Shiba with Blockasset, and we're gonna stay, let's say, between even, I would say, even if we stay between 7 cents to like 14-15 cents for a few months, I think there's not a bad chance we could have a similar stuff to Bitcoin and Shiba when it comes to like a quick, crazy 10x. And especially if it, you know what I mean, and even if it will happen in the beginning of 2023 as well, that could also work out if some bullish momentum is gonna be back to crypto by then. So yeah, I think, you know, definitely if it's the first time you're watching Blockasset, I'm gonna leave a few other videos that I've made more about the fundamentals of Blockasset that you can learn about. But guys, I think right now, it's the way I personally see it right now, to purchase block is just much better than here, even though the price is slightly lower. The way I see it, it's just more established possible bottom, okay? So, and again, and more important fundamental news that are coming up. Yeah, guys, thank you for joining this video again, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, because we're gonna make a lot more videos up until the next bull run, and we're gonna collect one of the best among the best altcoins for the next bullish wave. So you know, it wasn't a financial advice, but I'm doing my best to share what I'm doing and what I'm thinking about the market. So this video was again about Blockasset, one of my favorite projects. So guys, if you have any questions, if you have anything to say, please leave a comment. I'll gladly be answering to everyone's questions. And yeah, guys, thank you again for joining me here today, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend wherever you are in the world, and cheers as always.